Howdy ladies and gentlemen, and today we're talking about the new map on Battlefield 2042, Stranded. And to start off it all, I don't know why, the Conquest playlist is 128 players. I don't know why back to 128 players, but it's just lag. So tried to find Portal versions and obviously managed to find some, but they were all in like the hardcore health mode kind of thing, and weren't a great experience on it. But I still got to get onto a 64 player version, and it does actually feel nice. It's a good map. The only problem I've got with it in Conquest right now really is that I was 128 players laggy, and the map feels good filled out with 128 players. With 64 players, as soon as all the vehicles are in use, it just feels a bit empty because there's just not many infantry running around anymore. So it really does feel like 64 player is very vehicle heavy and oriented, but the 128 player does have a lot of infantry, but it's just really laggy. So that's I wish I could love it more on Conquest, but I don't actually like. Conquest is my least favorite game mode out of Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush. So I understand why I have my gripes with it in Conquest. But on Breakthrough, ooh, it feels great. Very great. Although I think it could do better with the actual cap points and maybe an extra sector. Or even if you have extra cap points, don't need the extra sector. It just kind of feels like you miss a bit of the map. Like there's two full sectors you don't even step into, which is like, yeah, okay, fine. You don't need to play in every sector, but kind of feels a bit like we're missing something. Like I kind of feel like the end sector shouldn't be the top right one. It should have been the bottom right one. I feel like that ending into that sector would have actually been a bit better, because it's then that like uphill climb into the point, and I feel like that would have been a bit better than the way we've got it right now. Because going into the actual cap points themselves, Sector A, I really do think it should have 2 cap points. Keep the same one where it is, but it should have a second cap point, which is actually underneath the ship where the grapple line is. I think that should be a secondary cap point, so that they've got to capture both of them to progress into the ship. Because right now it just kind of feels like you take that one bit there, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the defenders have given up and are just retreated fully into the ship, and the attackers just instantly come right, like can come around all sides. Like that's another thing as well. I think putting in the extra cap point in there is going to help spawns, so that not everyone is just going to run to that first big open door in the ship, and you just become a massive problem of just everyone being in one area. I really do think having that second cap point is going to help obviously split the attackers up a bit more, so that they're not just going to come through as one way. So it gives because one of the problems is if all your allies are in combat, or they're all sitting in like that doorway that you don't want to go back to because everyone's just sitting there throwing grenades and C4, you want to go around the back. You want to go up the zip line, you want to loop all the way around to the other side of the ship. You've got a massive run to go on. Whereas if they put a second cap point in the bottom, it alleviates that issue, and it also would mean that the defenders would also know that there is an entrance to the ship down there. Because I think some of the defenders don't know that there's an entrance to the ship down there, because it's like that entire area is just completely disregarded on defense generally. Final sector, because I want to go through this quicker now, sorry. The final sector, that cap point is way too close to the mark of where the no-go zone for defenders especially. I think it needs pulling back a bit. It needs reworking, something like that, like, or the out of bound, like the defenders zone needs pushing closer to the ship a little bit more. Or make it so that that's more of a neutral ground, like, because I know obviously you can have the neutral ground areas, so a little rework to that, or just change it to the bottom right sector, I think would have been better. So moving on, it does feel nice in each area, especially like I said in Conquest. The top left sector, I think, is a bit open, and when you leave the point, I think it's a bit empty, but it's not a major problem. Few Rush maps I've played were through Portal, and the maps were 128 players, and unfortunately they were slightly ruined by, again, 90% of Portal servers all run the health damage modifiers, and I understand, yes, people want fast, easy XP and stuff like that, but why is literally every server like that? It's a little frustrating. A little frustrating. A little frustrating. So, really think it was a fun, I will still say, really fun, enjoyable experience. We'll go back, we'll keep playing it. However, I would really enjoy it if in the 120, like, in their set rush mode, there is 32 players. But in Portal you can create up to 128 player rush modes. I really wish that they might just go into the maps and add 1-2 more MCOM stations per sector. You got 3 or 4, and in the Portal mode, that will be, you'll have rush 32 and then rush 64. So you'll have your small player-based maps, like OG style 2 MCOM stations, let's go, like even squad rush back in the day, like I love that. But when we got up to say 64 player rush and all the way up to 128 player rush, 2 MCOM stations, not enough most of the time, especially in some of the maps where some of them are, like I was playing last night on a server, 128 players, it had like 850 tickets for the attackers, but in literally one area I got 5 diffusers and we drained them down to like 400 tickets. So I do understand that there is maybe a rework on where this MCOM stations are placed, but I really do think having more MCOM stations would have actually alleviated that problem last night, because it would have split the defenders from, rather than having 128 players, because the 2 MCOM stations are actually pretty close to each other. So we had 128 players literally smack bang right next to each other continuously. But 64 defenders just continuously defending the 2 places, rather than it being split to 32 onto one and 32 onto the other because they were split further, or even having 2 there and then 2 more in another part of the sector. So we had to split 32 in that for those 2 and 32 for the other 2. So then the attackers could mass all 64 onto one sector and take it, and then use that momentum like you do for rush. Rush is all about using your momentum to carry on pushing forward. When you lose that momentum, then that's when you got to play tactfully, you got to play sneaky, you've got to pull out a 10 kill streak, mega Chad moment kind of thing. Like most of the time with rush, as it says it's rush, you are rushing from point to point, you're using your momentum. So from the second you want to spawn in straight away, be the first people to spawn in and be able to rush that point with as many people as possible, all helping each other. Kind of the idea of rush, in my opinion. And it feels like it's been lost over these past couple of games. But overall, it's a good addition to the map pool. I would say it's like, again, small rework and so maybe additional cover, maybe change the... maybe have some like trenches or something like that, like in that top left sector, just like a little airfield base kind of thing. So obviously I know like trenches and stuff wouldn't work because it's like supposed to be an airfield kind of base, but something to kind of break it. It's just, problem is it's so much flat land, not a lot of cover, and there's only really cover on the 2 points going in towards the ship. Everywhere else around that other part of that sector kind of just feels like it's just been forgotten and barren, and you're not supposed to go out there even though you can go out there to a degree. So some advantages, disadvantages to the map now for finishing all this off, because I have rambled on for almost 10 minutes now. So it's great for finishing off the mastery for Irish and Paik, definitely. Wow, amazingly great for them. And the new specialist Crawford. Play either of those 3, play inside the ship if you're playing Conquest, or if you're playing Breakthrough, just you play through the ship anyway. Great for getting your masteries done there. There is a lot of grenade and explosive spam, and especially with the new AR, oh my god, that is going to be a major issue. I know other YouTubers have already put up videos and stuff, but I'm going to try and get one up myself about why this new AR is going to be a big problem soon. As soon as people start, as soon as a lot of people have unlocked it, it's not hard to unlock either. So another thing they've done good is a great use of elevation and cover. You have done great with this map. Feels like a classic Battlefield map. Like I said, one little area I can forgive. The rest of it, top notch. All feels great. Even that top right hand sector, even though that kind of feels a bit open and barren and stuff on the back end of it, but that's because that's actually where the main spawn point is, especially in Breakthrough. Whilst that top left, you don't play it in Breakthrough at all, so it kind of feels like it's a bit Why is that all still so open? It just literally feels like it's been forgotten. And lastly, most of the zip lines are actually outside of the, not usable outside of Conquest. They're outside of the area in Breakthrough and Rush. They're only usable in Conquest. And to me, when you play 128 player Conquest, you jump on one of those zip lines, you're asking to get killed. It's just so risky and dangerous on 128 players on those zip lines. It's just so dangerous. 64 player, not too bad, but again, there's not a lot of players running around anyway, so it's mainly vehicles, so that's kind of why it doesn't feel so bad. But there we go. Sorry we've rambled on for almost 20 minutes now. Give us a sub, give us a like. We're smashing out more Battlefield content all over the day. Videos will probably be coming out over the week or so, so be watching out for them. And until next time, keep safe, keep well, and I'll catch you laters.